Hey everybody, it's your buddy Beard Grizzly. Warning, you're about to embark on a journey that goes down some pretty silly spinfoil, but spinfoil that has a lot of proof in my eyes. Per usual, the ideas are mine, the interpretations are mine, but ultimately, the decision to accept it or add it into your own thoughts is entirely on you. That being said, what can possibly be misconstrued and misinterpreted about the Nine? What can possibly go wrong with any of this mini-series we're going to have on these mysterious figures in Destiny lore? First off, I feel it necessary to not only catch everyone up on the ideas that the Nine have presented us with, but also make sure we're on the same page, or as close as we can get to it. We'll look into popular theories within this video of what each part of the old Grimoire card, Legends 2, holds for us, along with a bit of my own. We'll start by going point by point, so for those up on this stuff, give me a few minutes for those that may need a refresher. The Nine are survivors of the Cisjovian colonies who made a compact with an alien force to ensure their own survival. In brief, we don't know a lot about the colonies that were out in the solar system during the Golden Age. If we take a look at the old helmet, Long Tomorrow 9G, the flavor text reads, "Some of them survived. I know a fellow says he saw a wish dragon on Jupiter a ways back." Wish dragons has been widely agreed upon within the community as being the Ahamkara, so the question has always been what they may have to do with the Nine. The Nine are deep-orbit warminds who weathered the collapse in hardened stealth platforms. There's a point between two larger bodies out in space called a Lagrange point. This point in space allows for a third, smaller body to be stuck between these two larger forces. It's possible that these warminds could be stuck in deep orbit between Earth and Luna, or between the Earth and the Sun, or, any planet in the system because we started to explore and settle. This allows these smaller objects to be trapped in a centrifugal or very balanced gravitational hold between the two larger bodies. Just dropping the idea out there. The Nine are ancient Leviathan intelligences from the seas of Europa or the hydrocarbon pits of Titan. This one gets very detailed, but in short, the Leviathan is otherwise referenced twice in Destiny, once in the Grimoire within the Books of Sorrow within the first verse of the books, and again with the Leviathan that Callus is on. We now see Titan firsthand, but we haven't seen these hydrocarbon pits that have been spoken of, and it's possible we've seen some concept art for Europa, but I'm not holding my breath. Europa is a moon of Jupiter just like Io, so that makes things even more interesting, and a possibility that we could go there soon. The Nine arrived in a mysterious transmission from the direction of the Corona Borealis supercluster. The Corona Borealis supercluster is about 964 light-years in total distance. Totally a small place to figure out where this signal might be coming from. Yeah, really narrows it down. A supercluster involves tons of galaxy clusters that form a supercluster. The Corona Borealis constellation, for reference, looks like a crown, and the point of the crown is where this supercluster is located. Quite plainly, there's no way to fully narrow down this area of space of where this signal may be coming from. The Nine are the firstborn awoken, and their minds now race down the field lines of the Jupiter-Io flux tube. Of all of them, this seems the most weird, but so are the awoken, so whatever. A flux tube is a true thing, and one does exist between Io and Jupiter as is stated in the legend. They are magnetic fields that generate between two bodies, or just protrude out from a planet or sun. For instance, when the sun pops off a plume, it could be due to some of these flux tubes. The Nine are ghosts who peered the deep black without a ship and meditated on the hissing silence of the heliopause. You know what? I'm just gonna wait for it. We're gonna talk about this a long ways from now, but it'll be worth it. Moving on. The Nine are the aspects of the darkness, broken by the Traveler's rebuke, working to destroy us from within. This can be most related to what Xur has done for us, delivering questionable goods that are laced with Ahamkara bones and other goodies that the Vanguard has outlawed in either the Crucible or otherwise. That's the closest relation we may know of, however. You could possibly push it as far as Eris or Asher Mir being corrupted or touched by the darkness, but that's further speculation. The Nine is a viral language of pure meaning. Xur actually brings this up on a voice line in Destiny 2, saying, "To do what you say is to speak in a language of pure meaning." It's not exact to what the legend states, but none of them are. The Nine are the shadows left by the annihilation of a transcendent shape, burned into the weft of what is. The word shape within Destiny has some very interesting implications. The Vex, for instance, speak on their pattern that they try to make everything fit to. The same is true of Oryx, cutting down the light and just continuing to fight until something destroys him, by carrying out the idea of the one pure shape, which is to blend everything into darkness. It is quite possible that this link could go back to the darkness in some fashion, but this final point does line up with the rest of the legends, which is to say they don't really make a lot of sense. There's truth within them, and we'd start to hear a few of those truths from the Emissary, or at least so we can figure. I wonder if the ones we hear from her and Xur are the ones we should be taking a bit more at face value, however, but only on the parts that are referred to by each party. Xur only has the one new line for the time being, at least that I've heard so far, and we already talked about that, so let's move on to the Emissary. After going flawless, the Emissary starts to speak to you about some of these legends.
You are worthy. When the time comes, seek us out. Watch for us on the filaments of dark matter, in the hydrocarbon pits of distant moons. This? In the direction of the Corona Borealis supercluster. Pierce the lightless void beyond the northern skies and meditate in the hissing silence.
The Emissary mentions a few big pieces of these legends, but not the whole of them. It either serves to confuse us in showing they know of the legends and only speak on half of them, or it goes to make things a bit clearer in showing us what parts of the legends we can cut away and throw out. In either event, they seem to like to play riddles games and really get into our heads. Everything seems to be related to a game with them, even the way that the Trials event is set up. You're flown in and then showcased with yours and the opposing team, each one of them displayed with simple messages announcing each round. Attack, defend, attack, defend. What I find most funny is how the Emissary points out verses and then starts to highlight the new team. As much as you can simply call this an element of gameplay, and I certainly wouldn't argue with you, the words she says during the Trials don't help this case. Certain fighting game fans may know where I'm going with this.
Heaven or hell?
Heaven or hell. Duel 1. Let's rock.
A lot of these small quips and suggestions really make the Trials stand out as another fighting game. Added, the idea of unlocking keys doesn't have any significant interest for just the 9, or at least so I can figure. They seem to show a proving ground of the soul, standing up for what it is the 9 believe in to some degree. I mean, there's plenty of keys that exist within Destiny, but the Emissary speaks on them as proving levels more than anything. I just may not be able to make a connection with these keys at all right now, and I'm totally okay with admitting that. Still, if they are just used as a tool for progression of the soul and values of the 9, then this plays right into the hand of how you receive loot, fight against your fellow Guardian, and go home triumphant afterward. It's the best explanation I can come up with. To shift gears a bit, Destiny has this theme of power. Both the 9 and Callus of the Raid offer us power, but both offer it in different meanings and ways. Callus needs us to prove to him that we're worthy of taking up an audience with him, even after we've killed Gaul, his major target within the Golden Invitation. The 9, on the other hand, offer it in combat against one another, to grow how we fight one another, and to become more proficient in fighting other Guardians. Still, as much as both of these forces and philosophies want to grant us more power, I do find some of the loot interesting, to say the least. But that's for another day when I can talk about Callus. For now, I'm going to say that I trust the 9 much more than I thought before. Their motives are still very much unclear, but I can still see them as staunch allies in the fight against the darkness. And now for a taste of things to come. You could call this the final game that I wish to play for now. Reality is the finest flesh, O bearer mine, and are you not hungry, O bearer mine? What kind of talking skull would address its host that way? A stiff, stuck-up old fossil, not me. Ahamkara, the illusion that one's ego depends on an object, or an idea, or a body. Some people say you should have no Ahamkara. Some people say you need to have the right Ahamkara. All I know is that you are not an illusion. Understand? This world around you, the people you meet, they're a little thin, right? Cardboard and drywall. Cheap theater. Come on, try it out. Say, I am more real than this. Feels good, doesn't it? I am the only real person here. Isn't it like their insults and their bullets just went a little soft? I came to find you, only you, because you're special. You're from somewhere real. and together we can burn our way back there. Can't we? Oh, player mine. There are others that enjoy playing games with our minds just as much as the 9 do, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about them more. For now, however, consider this the primer, the beginning of what's to come with the 9. From here, it's going to go progressively further down the rabbit hole. Let me know what you guys thought of this with the like or dislike button, and subscribe for more of what's to come with the 9 and other lore, science, and history topics. Let me know your thoughts on everything down below so far, and if you're not sure what to say, you can say Legend of the 9, since that's what we covered today. If nothing else, however, I truly thank you for listening and being around this far, and I'll see you next Spacetime Guardians. Take care, oh listener mine.